Good evening. Carson V. Heady here, author and accessible sales leader extraordinaire. I'm coming to you today, this evening, from the story time chair. This is where the stories are read in our home. And tonight, will it be the monster at the end of the book, one of my all-time favorites? The little engine that could, classic. Or a little Dr. Seuss. No, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you may have a little bit of trouble sleeping, because by no means is this a bedtime story. Birth of a Salesman by Carson V. Heady. You might have a little trouble sleeping knowing that there is this kind of corruption in the world. But tonight I'm going to read a little bit from the first chapter and introduction of Birth of a Salesman by Carson V. Heady. The introduction. Light slowly began to encroach the darkness that enveloped the apartment room. Asleep on the couch, covered in a blanket, lay Vincent Thomas Scott III. For that moment, and that moment alone, there was calm. Vincent is a man whose astounding attributes vastly overshadow his glaring weaknesses. He is a showstopper, a game changer. His bloodstream flows with the perfectly balanced cocktail of adrenaline, vodka, and caffeine, each taking turns running his engine. He is exceedingly intelligent, witty, boyishly handsome, occasionally arrogant, and yet sentimental. Jaded and cynical from his experiences, yet so full of love for his 2-year-old princess of a daughter. A bachelor by trade, Vincent is scarred from a few that mattered of the many women that had crossed his path. Numbed by numerous letdowns of life and the antidepressants his chaotic existence had driven him to years ago, he seldom let himself feel much of anything anymore. Vincent is a man flawed, yet redeemable in many ways. He is not indestructible, not bulletproof, yet he puts up a front of both. His greatest joys: the smell of his daughter's hair, her hand in his, the way she calls his name and runs to him when he arrives to pick her up at the Sitters, and the way that she would just come up to him for no reason and hug him or declare her love. There were the cheering crowds and the ovations. A basketball player in his youth, Vincent chose work over pursuit of that dream and has had to settle for the adoration of his workforce. He took pride in the fact that he was able to touch so many people in a positive fashion on a daily basis. He truly made a difference and changed lives for the better, even if it was just on a small scale, for now. His greatest weaknesses: vast insecurities that are deeply buried, a fear of not being loved, wanted, or of being abandoned or taken advantage of, and he masks them with the guise of an inflated ego. He regularly uses alcohol to supply antiseptic to his incurable pain. It is the ache of a man who had spent the sum of his 31 years attempting to find solace in a world he was coming to realize was cold and brutal. The measure of this man is that the things that have not killed him have made his ambitions stronger. The meaning of life, according to Vincent Scott: working hard so that the people you love know you love them, and having a positive effect on as many people as possible. Our lives are just a mere blip on the radar, so you'd better make it memorable. Now I'm going to skip ahead to the book within the book, which is called Birth of a Salesman's The Selling Game by Vincent Scott. Not all of the story is novel. About 60 to 70% is the novel of the story of Vincent Scott and how he and his managers stood up to the corrupt supervision in their department. But he also writes a book within a book, and The Selling Game by Vincent Scott, Chapter 1, The Art of Confidence. If you're reading this, let me lead off by saying congratulations. Chances are you're serious about selling. You will find, if you haven't already, that many techniques can add up to the same equation of success. One of the challenges of success is determination of your own equation and your own path. My objective is to open your eyes to things you may have never considered to make your path an easier one to tread than mine has been. But all the books, the scripts, the coaching and counseling in the world mean nothing if you do not begin by believing in yourself. Everyone with the right application has the ability to be a star. It takes brains, guts, and tenacity to get there, and my goal is for you to attain that glory so you too feel like Rocky at the end of Rocky IV when they hoist him up and drape the American flag over his shoulders. Trust me, I know that at the conclusion of some days you feel like you just went 15 rounds with Russian powerhouse Ivan Drago. You take such a beating that you'll almost be forced to wait 5 years for the underwhelming sequel that should have never been made. But seriously, always remember, Rocky won that fight. And you can too. You may be asking yourself if I have ever read a sales manual or book. I have not. My methods are what I have learned over years of doing exceptionally well. I learned by trying a lot of things and applying the principles that I will outline on the pages to come. There are a lot of opinions out there. Everybody has one. You're not going to agree with everything I say, but hey, that's what life's all about. Sales ability, like oxygen, exists in every living being, but like the talent to build bridges, play an instrument, or speak a foreign language, its expression varies across the species. Some people reek of the ability. It's an illustrious scent of confidence exuding from them, and it dominates everything around them. Others' ability or application in the area reeks, an odor that contaminates their playing field. But for that, there is a cure. And that cure, ladies and gentlemen, is inside this book, Birth of a Salesman by Carson V. Heady. Check out my Goodreads author profile. It has a little bit more of the first introduction and first chapter of Birth of a Salesman posted there for free reading. You can also download Birth of a Salesman via Amazon or Barnes & Noble through Nook and Kindle. And as always, it's available through Barnes & Noble and Borders online and in stores and through Amazon.com. The audio version, which is obviously the voice of Carson V. Heady, author, is also available through Amazon and Napster and soon iTunes. So check me out, www.carsonv, as in victory, Heady, Heady.com, and shoot me a line anytime. Would love to see you online. Take care. All the best.